Hi, I'm Troy.
And I'm Vicki.
And we are the Empty Nesters Wine. Well, welcome back. Episode 2 of our podcast. Last week we were telling you about how we started making wine and our trip to Niagara Falls. And then I started to get into episode 2 with carrot wine. And that's a whole nother story and a whole nother vacation. Yeah, I should not make big decisions when I go on vacation.
No, you shouldn't.
Every time I go on vacation, though, Vicki drags me to wineries. After several wines, I make life-changing decisions. So we took a trip to Yellowstone National Park. Beautiful place.
It was a big trip, too. It was the whole family. All of Troy's family went, including nieces and nephews, everybody.
Yeah, Vicki made us shirts. What was there, like 12 of us that went?
Yeah.
Vicki made us all shirts. They were exactly the same. They were all green, and it said, "If you met my family, you'd understand." And if you've met my family, you would understand that is the perfect shirt for us.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we all went to Yellowstone. We drove from Kansas. It was, I think I clocked it at 42 hours of driving there and back and driving around the park.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In 1 week. So it was a work week of driving. But fortunately, I had good company with Vicki and my brother Aaron and his girlfriend Jennifer.
Mm-hmm. We got a good laugh at Troy's expense, too.
Are you talking about the little praying Dobermans?
Yes.
All right, tell the story.
So we're driving down the highway, and Troy keeps saying, we're all talking, and Troy says, there's a little thing on the road. It looks like a little praying Doberman. And
no one else seen them.
No one else could see them.
No, there were like hundreds of them. They were all over the place, standing on the side of the road, just standing there, and they had their little hands up like they were praying. They looked like tiny little miniature Doberman pinchers. Not like a min pin, like a tiny little thing.
They were prairie dogs.
I didn't know. I guess I'd never seen a prairie dog because I didn't know what it was. And so they didn't let me live that one down for the rest of the trip.
No. I think you still get teased about that occasionally.
Yeah. So, anyway, on the way home, on the way out there, we wanted to stop by this winery in Laramie, Wyoming.
It was the only one I found anywhere on the trip.
Yeah, and it was closed. So we went on to Yellowstone, had a fantastic time. On the way back, we went back through Laramie, and we stopped at this winery. You can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes. It's listed as a winery. So we get there, and it's just this little storefront with a bar in it and a little lounge area, and the guy just makes wine in the back room and bottles it and sells it out front.
Oh, yeah. It was interesting.
The Great Untamed Winery is what it's called. And he had really interesting wines. He did some grape wines, but most of his was like
berries and
like the carrot wine that
lavender
I mentioned last week. Rhubarb wine, turnip wine. There was some really
beet.
He
had beet wine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So anyway, we went in. And it was me and Vicki, my brother Aaron, and his girlfriend Jennifer. Uh-huh. And were all the guys already at the bar? They started coming in.
There was a couple of them already there. Some of the regular customers were already sitting in there.
So, yeah, this was the biggest group of nerds that assembled at this bar. There was about 6 of them. And
I think there was 5 total, including the guy that owned the place.
Okay. And so anyway, apparently this is a regular thing. They come in every night and they all hang out together and talk about Dungeons and Dragons and stuff.
I swear they were straight out of our living room. All of our son's friends.
It really was.
I mean you could almost pinpoint who was who.
I named them all. Austin and Robert and Bob and
Jamie.
Jeff and Jamie. Yeah, it was really a neat environment, and we just fit right in. They were all young, and here we are, empty nesters. But yeah, we just fit right in, was chit-chatting with them and having a good old time. And so on the menu was carrot wine. I don't think I tasted the carrot wine, but I bought a bottle of it.
Yeah, because I'd actually seen it on their website, and it sounded just really interesting. Something completely unique.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I've got to have some of that just to see what it's like.
Yeah, so we bought a bottle of carrot wine, and on the way home, I started talking about making this carrot wine. I wanted to make some carrot wine and then have a blind taste test between his carrot wine and my carrot wine. To be honest, the guy there at the Great Untamed Winery in Laramie, Wyoming, he was a really cool guy, really nice guy, but his wines weren't very good. Don't tell him I said that. But yeah, great atmosphere, great guy. And so on the way home, my brother starts in, oh, your guys' wine is better than his. You can make wine better than him. And my gears were already turning. And I was like, Vicky, what do you think if we had our own wine store?
My first thought was, nope.
We've made wine for a couple of years now. We should have a store like this one. And I had my little brother there, Aaron, who fed that fire real fast.
Yeah.
You should do it. And so we talked Vicky into it one way or another. I don't know how. See, I'm the guy with my head in the clouds all the time. Vicky, she keeps me grounded. And when I come up with crazy ideas like starting a wine store, she's the one that says, whoa, hold on. Calm down, mister. But she didn't do that this time. And so we got into a doozy of a project.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, we had just shelves full of wine in the basement, you know. Because we were having fun making wine, so we built a shelf out of 2x4s and 2x10s, I think, or 1x10s.
Something, yeah.
So we had a shelf, and we filled up that shelf really quick. So we made a second shelf and a third shelf. And we were just running out of room for all this wine. And we were giving it away like crazy, man. All friends and family were like, hey, have some wine. What kind do you want? And so, you know, I thought, man, you know, we could do this. We could sell it and, you know, we'd come out pretty good. Have fun making it and make a lot of new friends and, you know, make a profit off of it. So we decided there actually was a vacant storefront in Lecompton.
Yeah, I've had my eye on it for years. Every time I've walked past it, I'm like, man, I wish somebody would do something with that and turn it into something.
And just a few years earlier, they had opened a cafe in the storefront next door to it. So that was already bringing in a lot of people, a lot of customers, a lot of out-of-towners coming in. So, you know, it was in our minds, we could see it happening. So we went to this storefront and was looking at the outside of it and just standing there in the street looking at it, and I could picture it. I was like, yeah, this could happen. Then we went inside. Oh my God. This was a dump.
It was bad.
Half of the floor had fallen into the basement, which was a mud floor basement. It was just a mud pit. Half the floor was gone. The other half was completely rotten. You had to be real careful where you stepped so you didn't fall through the floor. The walls were just disgustingly ugly, plaster, pale yellow color.
They had paneling on them too, like
Paneling
2 layers
on the
of paneling
bottom
on
layer.
top of a layer of horsehair plaster. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and in the middle there's this big ugly wall that just ran across the middle of it for no apparent reason.
Well, it's because of the freezer. There was a freezer that was back there, and it was
It used to be a grocery store, and
Yeah.
the freezer set in the back.
and it had a cedar inside the wall that was all shaved, and that filled the wall. But
So
part of the wall was gone.
Yeah, apparently the freezer had been leaking and fell through the floor. So they actually had to rip the roof off of the building.
It was the roof. The roof had started leaking, which caused a leak onto the floor, and the freezer fell.
So the freezer crashed through the floor into the mud pit basement. Anyway, it was a complete disaster.
Luckily, we didn't have to deal with that part.
Yeah, they had already pulled the freezer out, replaced the roof, the back half where they had to get in there with a crane to pull the freezer out. So anyway, it was a nightmare. But I called a contractor before we even decided to purchase the place. Called a contractor and had him come in and look around, and he was taking measurements and talking, and he says, yeah, we could probably get this done for $150,000. And I was like, okay, well, let's do that then. So we decided to purchase the building. So we called the owner in Atlanta, Georgia, and we asked her about selling the place. Vicky, you talked to her.
Yeah, she actually was someone that was raised here in Lecompton and currently lives in Atlanta. But yeah, so I talked to her. She says, yeah, I think I'd be willing to sell. And we negotiated a price. So then we went through a title company, got it all taken care of. And then we had to wait about a month before the people got all the stuff out of it. And I don't know where they put all that stuff that was stored in there.
Oh, yeah, the antique shop next door, which was called Recollections. Now it's called the Bald Eagle Mercantile. Yeah, really great people own that store. If you're ever in Lecompton, you won't go wrong stopping in there. But, yeah, they were actually using what little bit of floor was sturdy enough to hold stuff for a storage room. So...
And it was stacked all the way to the ceiling. Every spot you could walk was packed full.
So, yeah, Vicky calls this girl in Atlanta, and she says, yeah, we'll sell it. And boom, it's sold. And then we found out later when we're up there working to remodel the place that all these people were stopping by saying, I've been trying to buy this store for years, and she wouldn't sell it. They were saying, man, you must have really talked her ear off to get her to sell to you. No, just made a phone call and she's okay. So that was pretty funny. But so then we called the contractor after we bought the place and said, hey, we're ready for you whenever. He says, well, first you got to go to this architect and get plans drawn up. Plans were not cheap.
Nope.
At all. So we sunk almost double what we paid for the building into architectural plans. And so we got the plans, which took another month or so.
Couple, yeah.
Couple months. So we're already 3 months into this with purchasing the building and the plans. And, we thought we'd be opening in 3 months. So we called up I emailed the plans to the contractor. And he took a few days, and he came back with his bid of $480,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, what happened to this $150,000? So that's why contractors don't like to give you a ballpark figure, because when it changes, people aren't happy. We had already sunk a bunch of money into buying the place, getting the plans, and I absolutely was not going to spend $480,000 to have it remodeled. So we sat down, the empty nesters, and we talked about it, and we decided to go forward, do it yourself.
Well, sort of do it yourself.
Yeah.
We called in our friends. Luckily, we have a lot of friends that are in different trades. We have an electrician, we have a framer, we have HVAC,
flooring.
Yeah, we know a lot of people.
Yeah, fortunately, all family or friends could do a lot of this work, and we called them. We had meetings with them, showed them the place, and they were very excited about it, and they were all on board. And so we jumped right into it. Now, this is coming from me, Troy, who I can't cut a straight line with a saw to save my life. I can't remodel nothing. I have to watch a YouTube video like 5 times just to replace a faucet or something. And here I am taking this disaster of a building and trying to transform it into a winery.
Well, it's a good thing we had Bo.
Yes.
He has been the lifesaver on this project.
Very, very good friend of mine from my high school days in Valley Falls, Bo. he actually works for Garner Remodeling out of Topeka, Kansas. He owns it now. Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, if you guys need work done at your house, any kind of remodeling, a bathroom, an addition, he can do an add-on. This was a huge job, and he did a fantastic job with it. Great attitude, great work ethic. Garner Remodeling out of Topeka, Bo Freeborn. Give him a call, tell him I sent you. He's a super guy, and he didn't pay me to say that. So, I left out a small thing with the contractor. He told us it would cost $100,000 to $150,000, and it would take about 3 months to remodel. 3 months was a no-go for me. we can't do that in 3 months. So we've been slowly stepping along with it. It's been almost 3 years now since we purchased the building.
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
I think it's been like 2.5.
Well, since we purchased the building, probably
since
2.5.
we purchased the building. August will make 3 years when we started looking at it, or when we actually purchased it in August, right, of 2017. Yeah. And if you look at our website, emptynesterswine.com, I think it is, you'll see an outdated picture of the storefront that I put up there, and across the top I'd typed in Photoshop, coming soon in 2018.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I haven't updated the picture, and we're still coming soon, but it's going to happen. So we started working on it. We went to the city council meeting, talked to the city about it to make sure that there wasn't any illegalities, to make and sell liquor in the town. And
yeah, we had to have a special meeting for it just to make sure, because they had to change an ordinance to make it happen.
The city council members were incredible. They were all really helpful. They were on our side. They were excited about us doing it. And yeah, no one opposed us. So, we had a couple small hurdles. You have to be at least 200 feet from a church. And there's a church just down the street from us, but we measured it out. Actually, Jamin, the cafe owner next door, measured it out, and we're like 215 feet away from the church. So we barely made it. And the building, it's a single building with several shops in it. And they all had like one water meter and sewer lines and all that stuff. So the city went ahead and put in new water meters for every building or every storefront. Put in new water lines, put in a brand new nice sidewalk out front. I mean,
we had to put in the water lines.
Well, running to the building.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, they were very helpful, very kind. So I got a story to tell you about what a terrible do-it-yourselfer I am. We were out in Phoenix visiting Vicky's father, my father-in-law, great guy, I love him. We were out in his woodshed, and he does woodworking for fun and hobby, and he also works with silver, makes jewelry. I mean, he's pretty handy. So we wanted him to make us this address sign for our house to put out in front of our flower bed. And so it's supposed to have our address and our name. And he has this jigsaw, and
it's a scroll saw.
A scroll saw. See, I don't even know. They're all just saws to me, whatever it is. It's a bandsaw or some scroll saw, whatever. So he has this wood, and he traces a letter on it, and then he just cuts it, and it's just smooth and perfect. And so he says, here, you cut out the C for our name, Clark. So it took me a while. I'm trying to be steady, and, I'm trying to go around that, and I got done, and I looked at it. I thought, well, that doesn't look too bad. And Mike says, let me see that looks pretty good. And he pitched it in the trash can.
Right in front of him.
Right in front of me. And then he made a new one, which looked much better than mine. So yeah, here's this guy that can barely swing a hammer, and now we're all of a sudden taking on this huge remodeling project. So yeah, doing it ourselves was quite an adventure. Oh, I promised you guys last week we were going to taste test the lemon wine on our podcast this week.
I cracked open a bottle.
We do have it sitting in front of us here. Here we go. Let's see. Smells decent. It looks good.
This definitely doesn't taste like dish soap anymore.
Ooh, that's not bad. All right, so aging is the secret. It does not. You cannot wash
Yay,
dishes
lemon wine's
with it
no
any
longer
longer.
a failure.
When did we make this? A year and a half ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So, hey guys, new wine available now for the first 15 people that ask. Lemon wine. It's not terrible. All right, so anyway, remodel stories. Our next podcast will be on the hilarious failures and awesome successes of the Empty Nesters Winery remodel.